Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Goodness me. I'm Joy Taylor. That's Super Bowl champion Keyshawn Johnson. He eats oxtails. This NBA Finals MVP, Paul Pierce.
Yeah, you had to give him his card back.
Yeah. He was tired of us talking about he only eats sashimi.
Right.
Yeah.
God, went all the other way.
You know, pull up. And
What's
joining
up?
us to talk about the NBA playoffs, Fox Sports senior NBA analyst, Rick Bucher. Welcome, Slick.
Rick, where'd you say we can get them fried chicken sandwiches out again?
Leave Rick alone.
No, nothing but trouble today.
No, Rick, cool. Rick got enough
We're
going
having
on.
a really hard time getting on here.
So wrong.
Well, we talked about it yesterday. Where is it? Where is the MVP? The MVP has arrived. Let's get into it. The big
Finally.
NBA news. The league has officially announced, they will officially announce the MVP tonight, but reportedly, Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander beat out Nikola Jokic to win his first MVP. More good news for the Thunder organization that took a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference last night, so we'll get to the game in a second. But Paul, did the voters get it right?
The voters got it right, Joy. Because listen, while our colleague and friend tried to sabotage the vote and not give Shai his vote and voted for Joker, yeah, we're going to put it on national TV. You did not vote for the real MVP. Thank God they got it right this year.
Yes.
I'm telling you, and Shai has proven it all year long. This is a regular season award. I don't understand why they waited so long to announce it. And he's done nothing but go out and prove it throughout these playoffs why he's been the best player all year on the best team. And I'm glad that he got it. And hopefully they'll give it to him game 2 so he can go out there and raise it in front of his home crowd and he can get his flowers and rightfully deserve.
Rick, when did you guys have to actually turn in the ballot? How long ago?
It was a little weird this year in that normally it's within like 48 hours after the regular season ends. But because now that they have this 65 game minimum requirement, they were like, we'll let you know when you can vote. And then you had like 12 hours to fill out your ballot. It was very weird.
You could have, some people probably voted into the postseason?
No. No games were started before we voted for the regular season.
We don't need a recount?
Do we have a final count?
What's that?
We don't need a recount?
I don't think we need a recount.
Yeah.
Although I think there were a number of people who, at one point during the playoffs, Paul included, would have said it was Nikola Jokic that deserved this.
Well, look, I think we can say it was very close. Obviously, no one's going to argue that
I'm sure
Nikola
that
Jokic
it will be the
did
final
not
vote.
have an MVP level season. He absolutely did.
Yep.
But you didn't get it right. But did they get it right?
Oh, I think I got it right.
So you do think you got it right?
When it comes to history, when we look back at this season,
Yeah, for sure.
I believe that people are going to look at it and go, wait a minute, how did Nikola Jokic not? He averaged a triple-double.
100%.
They were the record that they had, the players that they had. How did he not win based on what SGA had and did? So, look.
If SGA goes on and wins the NBA title, nobody's even thinking about it.
It's going to look better. It's going to look. It will look better.
Because the guy who won the NBA title won the MVP, where a guy who should have won the MVP based on your voting is sitting at home getting ready to drink up on some beers.
But it's optics.
Right.
It's optics.
What's
because
the
the reality is because it's a regular season award.
I understand.
So winning the title means nothing in terms of who was deserving of the MVP.
You know why? Because it's going to validate and put a stamp of approval on that particular person who wins the MVP. That's just me. Because if you're winning the MVP, your team probably should be in the NBA Finals if you win in the MVP.
But we only think that because the NBA takes so long to announce.
And that may be true.
If this was announced weeks ago,
we wouldn't be
as soon
having
as
this
the regular
conversation.
season was over, maybe we would carry it at some point through the postseason. But it would not linger over the conversation, and it wouldn't feel pertinent to the award. I actually think it takes away from the award that we wait so long because there's no way. It's just human nature that we're watching and seeing the most important time of the year play out and not think about whether this person should be the MVP or not. But it is a regular season award. Or just make it an entire season award and include the postseason.
Yeah. The fact that it was several days after Denver got knocked out was a clear sign that Jokic had not won it because you know that he's already back home racing horses again. There was no way that he was sticking around a couple of days in order to receive the award.
He's on some brews right now.
Did you at all, and then I know Joy's got to get us moving, but at all, did you ever think that if SGA didn't win it and you was like the tiebreaker in the situation because you picked him in the number 2 slot?
Yeah.
Did you ever think like, oh, man, it might be on me?
Well, I would be glad if it was on me. But I didn't have any questions about my choice. And I was happy with SGA being second. Yeah. And over the years, over the years, the voting has been skewed because we will have somebody who wins, like a Joel Embiid or Jokic, whoever it is. A Steve Nash wins 2 in a row. And that third year, it's like, we can't vote for him again. Even though he had a better year that third year, it becomes almost we're looking at the narrative in the big picture as the explanation as to why we would vote, instead of simply looking at the season and the season the candidates had and who is most responsible for their team having the year that they had. And that's the distinction for me. Nikola Jokic had more to do with what the Denver Nuggets were able to accomplish than SGA. He provided a bigger piece of the pie, in my estimation.
Do they get it right?
I think they got it. I got a question. Who votes
outside of like how many media members?
100 media members, and that's it?
Yes.
Man,
but ex-players that are in the media too, though, right?
Former players.
That's what I mean.
I truly believe they should allow current players and coaches to vote on this award. Because the players is going to tell it like it is.
No, that's not true.
I think
We've seen that in All-Star voting. Have you ever seen the votes, the players? Some players don't take the voting for All-Star seriously at all.
But for MVP,
wasn't there a poll of players that voted Halliburton overrated?
For a hot minute, they had players selecting at the end of the year, and it became very controversial.
Yeah.
They were picking their MVPs, and one year I think they picked Harden over Curry, and it became such an issue, and the players were so sensitive to it that they did away with it. Now they have
over
different
Curry
titles
for MVP.
It. What's that?
You said Harden over
Harden. They picked the players. Harden overwhelmingly over Steph Curry.
I mean, you got to understand, Harden had like a 5-year run where he could have won MVP.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been the wrong thing. Just like if Nikola Jokic had won it this year, it wouldn't have been wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to be fair, like I'm not upset that SGA won.
No,
I mean, he was number 2 on my
No,
ballot. It's not like I'm thinking, oh my God, they got it wrong.
Well, it's a 2-man race, man.
That's not who I had there.
It's a number 2
2-man race.
Well, but we got to put 5 names on the ballot.
Do you think the voters got it right?
Yeah, I do, absolutely. Because, again, like he was talking about the Steve Nash situation, sometimes you do get a little fatigue, and I understand that Joker is the guy on his team, and Denver wouldn't be nowhere near close to what they were this year without him. I feel the same way about SGA. If he wasn't doing what he was doing for OKC, they wouldn't be sitting in the Western Conference Final right now.
I also struggle with the considering the cast around them too much. Like, I don't think that should be the overwhelming slice of the pie when you're talking about the MVP. I don't think that it doesn't matter, but I do not think that a great player should get penalized for having a good roster.
No, for sure. And this is probably the biggest issue, is that the league purposely, so that we have conversations like this, has never defined what MVP means. You know, what it is. If they said it's the most outstanding player, or they said it's the best player on a top, people kind of come up with their own definition of it.
Yeah.
Most indispensable, greatest. But, you can kind of look at it through different prisms and vote. And
I think each year has a different narrative also.
That too. But as a result, every year, we you can, like Russell Westbrook winning one year, right? Because he was the triple-double king on a team that finished 5th or 6th, right?
Right, but at the time, what he had done was incredibly historic.
It was historic, right. But generally, people have looked at MVP as you're picking, and I think historically you will look at it like they come from one of the top 2 or 3 teams
As it should.
in the league.
As it should.
See, and
Except Westbrook, like you said, knocked the thing out the park that we've never seen before. And so he gets my vote because he's done something that we've never seen.
But then after the fact, he goes on and he doesn't do a whole lot in the postseason.
But I wasn't expecting him to.
Understood. But people then look back at that MVP and go, "Oh, well, did they get it right?"
No, they got it right.
Postseason award.
They got it right. Triple-double king. They got it right.
Postseason award.
No, I understand. Believe me, I understand that more than anything because.
But because of that, also, that's another reason why I feel like the voters got it right, because they were far and away the best team.
They were
the best team with the best player, and they're in the best team with the best player, and they're in the Western Conference Finals.
See, I can't go that far. Like to say that SGA was the best player in the league. I'm not.
He was the most valuable player.
Well, he is now, but I the best all-around player.
Now, he was the. Do you know what MVP means?
If you were starting, no. Here's my point.
Player.
If you were starting a franchise,
no, I'm not picking him. No.
Well, then he's not the best player.
No.
Nobody said he's the best player. He's the most
valuable.
So they should come out with a best player award?
Joy, can we go on?
Yeah, because you're getting hit from left to right. I would want to go on too. The bam, 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 bam.
Getting into last night's Western Conference Finals.
Buckle.
Not the buckle. The Thunder were down 4 points at halftime, but turned it up in the second half. Shai, the MVP, led the charge with 20 points in the half. The Thunder outscored the Timberwolves by 30 in the second half and shot 61% from 3.
Woo.
Yes. Paul, what did the Thunder prove in their dominant second half?
Man, they proved to me that they are the team to beat. They really did, because I'm looking at the spurt ability of this team, the way it just looks like they're giving me a Golden State kind of feel. Like the last Golden State championship in 16-17, I believe, where it was just like at any given moment you feel like they was going to blow the game open. It was just like they're going to have a run at some point. And that's what I'm seeing from this team. It's like when they beat Denver by 40 points in Game 2. They beat Denver by 35 in Game 7. Then they come out here, it's a close game, and then they break the game open. And it's like, oh, well, it's over. They start causing turnovers. The crowd gets into the game, and you just feel at some point in the game that they're going to break it open. But listen, this is who they've been throughout the course of the season. They set a record for point differential during the season with plus 12, I believe. They outscored their opponents by 12. In the playoffs now, after the last game, they're outscoring their opponents by 14 a game. That's insane. I've never heard of this. On average, the thing about the Thunder, you have to find a way to keep it close. In games decided by 5 points or less, I think they have 2 wins, 3 losses. And that's the key. You have to wither that storm, because at some point they're going to get a lead. And if you can wither that storm, you got a chance. But they just showed me they're just the team to beat. And I'm seeing it consistently night in, night out. And on a night where Shai doesn't really shoot the ball very well. So.
Yeah, and the thing they proved to me is I picked the wrong team. I got caught up in the hype. You know, Ant-Man. The Ant-Man got me, man. When I saw him walking through the city of L.A., on the video we showed, he just got me. It was like, okay, he getting ready to go out there and do what he need to do, but it didn't happen that way. So you look at both sides of the equation. First half, obviously, OKC struggled to a degree, and then the second half, they just poured it on, and Minnesota couldn't knock down a shot. They couldn't do anything that even gave me a slight of hope that they would even be able to make this thing a serious run. And now that I'm looking at it, I got to get off the Minnesota bandwagon and jump on OKC's bandwagon. As much as I would love to see Minnesota in the final against the Knicks, it just doesn't feel, based on yesterday, Rick, that is what we're going to see. Yeah, no. Because I don't think they're going to beat them in the second game at home either. And now you're going back to Minnesota down 2-0, and if they steal one in Minnesota, you might as well call it a good night.
And they like to say defense travels, and that's what the Oklahoma City Thunder hang their hat on. No, for me, they
get rid of Caruso, man. Never mind, but go ahead.
Somehow we had to get it back to the Lakers.
Man.
Somehow, some way, all roads lead back to the Lakers.
Caruso start knocking down threes, playing defense,
He don't miss.
He don't miss. Yeah. And I'm like,
both ends of the court.
What made us decide that that wasn't good enough for us?
Yeah. Didn't want to pay him.
Yep.
Yep. No, they proved that when they play anything close to their best offensively, the Timberwolves simply don't have an answer for that. And I think that that unlike the Timberwolves, their defense and their defense of intensity is not predicated on their offense. They are going to play defense hard no matter what. That is built into how they play. And then they proved that we're probably in for another gentleman's sweep at best, because and this is what I struggled with Minnesota going into the series and in their previous series, is that I looked at them against the Lakers and I looked at them against the Warriors. I'm like, they're the most talented team. And on paper, when I look at Minnesota, this should be a tooth and nail battle because of talent.
But
right?
you're getting nothing out of your center, though, in Minnesota. You're getting nothing out of him.
I didn't get anything out of Ant Edwards. I didn't get anything out of my best player, or at least not nearly enough. And the problem that I saw through those first two series was they're only focused 38, 39 minutes a game. And then there's like 9 minutes of basketball where things just go haywire. They're turning the ball over. The rotations are slow. They're missing assignments. Like, all that happens. And I'm thinking, OKC, the reason they blew everybody out all year long is because they never let go of the rope no matter what the score is. And so they're always going to keep their foot on the pedal. And that's watching the game last night. Like, even though Minnesota was ahead early and everything, and OKC's missing shots, I was just waiting. I was just waiting for Minnesota to kind of exhale, take a breath, and then here comes Oklahoma City. And then, because they don't stop. And Minnesota does. And I don't know that you can develop that ability to play hard for 48 minutes if you haven't been doing it all along.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Thunder looked like they're supposed to look as the number one seed in Game 1 at home. You know, I don't know that I'm bailing on the series necessarily, just off of that. You're out? Okay. I still think it's going to go 7, but I'm not surprised.
I hope you're right, but
I'm not surprised by that second half.
Yeah.
I think we got a little shook by the series going long. This is what they're supposed to look like. They're the number one seed. They've got the MVP. They're at home. Any kind of momentum shift, a team like them, to your point, is going to go on a run.
Yeah.
And you're at home. It should look crisp. It should look clean. They should have less turnovers. They should be able to knock their shots down. So I don't want to overreact too much to it, because I think that's what it should have looked like in the second half. You're absolutely right. If the Timberwolves are going to do anything in this series, they have to keep it close. But you knew that.
Yeah.
Once they get ahead, they're not a team that lets you back in. They're not.
I watched them.
They're not the Celtics.
No, listen.
I didn't say that.
No, listen, I watched them, man, and I promise you. I'm like, they look like a team. So last year, they was the number one seed. A lot of people don't even remember that. They won it by the last game of the season. I think
it was very close.
Denver lost to the Spurs or something like that happened. They playing like a team felt like they should have won it last year.
Yeah.
It looks like they're playing like we left something on the table. Mm-hmm. They look how the Celtics looked last year. Like a team that's like, hey, remember the Celtics was blowing everybody out and they like something to prove. They like, listen, our time is now. And you see it, them young boys, man, this could be, if they win it this year and pay close attention, this could be a making of a dynasty. If they win this one, because they got young pieces, you got a top 5 player, an MVP, and do you see the camaraderie with them? That's what I love about them. Yeah. When SGA get interviewed after the game, they all behind them.
Yep.
You know that? And you don't really like
chemistry.
Their chemistry is, and this is a team that you can see playing like this. Because now I look at the 4 teams left. Think about what you've seen Minnesota at their best, right? It's pretty good. Knicks, Pacers, pretty good at their best. No team matches them at their best.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's not even close. When OKC at their best, from what I see, it's way better than everybody left.
The one exception, and Denver showed it, and you brought it up, is the fact that if you can get them, and it's a lack of experience in last possession games.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't have the experience. And I saw them grow in that because they ended up winning a game like that against Denver in that series. So they're starting to get it. And once they get that, then it's a wrap.
Oh, my goodness.
Not the buckle.
Not the buckle.
Looking at the Timberwolves side, they did have that 4-point lead at the half and led by as many as 9 at one point. They also forced Shai to have a bad night shooting, going 10 of 27 from the floor, but it wasn't enough for the upset win. I don't really think they were ever in control of that game.
Minnesota?
Yeah, a 9-point lead to me, that's cute, but this is the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. There was never a point where I was like, oh, this is getting away from the Thunder. But do you think the Timberwolves wasted their chance at stealing one in OKC, Rick?
I do think that they did because, and Shai mentioned it afterward. He said, in spite of the fact that they had more time off than we did, we came out kind of rusty. And you got a 2 for 13 out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the first half. You got Isaiah Hartenstein with 3 fouls. You had Julius Randle looking like all-NBA first team, looking like I had hoped Anthony Edwards would look in terms of 20 points in the first half. And so, yeah, the 9-point lead wasn't big enough, but for the way that Oklahoma City was shooting and playing offensively, you would have liked to have seen that 17, 18, or 19. And Minnesota simply couldn't expand it to that point. So I feel like if they were going to get a game, it was that first game.
Yeah, they're not going to get the second game either. And a lot of it, in my opinion, is that OKC came out slower, a little rusty, whatever the case is, and they turned things on late in the second half. They know that now. So those adjustments will be made so that they don't come back out the second game with the same sort of feeling and whatnot. In terms of Julius Randle, it's almost like they forgot that he had a terrific first half.
Yeah.
It
was like they decided to say, okay, get the ball out of your hands and let somebody else do it. Although they shot, they shot 51 threes and only made 12 of them.
Yep.
Shot like 28% from three, something like that. I mean, that's like, at some point, like we like to say, don't you realize you're missing them and try something else? Because OKC...
I feel like that's the statement of this postseason.
Yeah, they all watching Boston.
You're not hitting your threes.
They was watching Boston.
We might want to go to
Try
something else.
something else.
Yeah, because even though OKC took less shots from the three, they hit 51% of theirs, and they let the right people like Caruso pull the trigger on them, not just letting anybody out there shoot them.
What do you think? Another chance?
Well, when I look at a blown chance, I look at it as a close game. They got out of hand in the fourth play. Because, when you go back and be like, damn, we should have got that game. That's like, damn, that's a one-possession game where you had an opportunity.
Were in it at the end.
Yeah, we were in it at the end. So it wasn't a waste. And the beauty about this, you got another game to try to get home court advantage. And so usually teams fight back and play better. But I just don't see it because when I look at the statistics, they beat them at every aspect of the game. I'm talking about they out-rebounded them. They outpassed them.
Look at the assists.
That's what I'm saying, the assists, 27-18. They outshot them. At every aspect of the game, they beat them in. So I'm like, when I look at the game, I'm trying to figure out what adjustments is Minnesota going to make. Yeah, Ant-Man has to be aggressive in the fourth quarter. He can't just not have zero points.
Not just the fourth quarter. He's got to attack.
He has to set the tone. I love the thing is Randle did set the tone, and I was like, okay, that was great. But throughout the game, I need to have Ant-Man's presence all throughout the game. You got to understand, listen, this is the conference finals. This is them. OKC know everything about you. They didn't watch you over the first 2 rounds. This is where your stars become superstars.
It's the same sort of thing I think he did in the last series, was game maybe 2, when Coach kind of got on his little rear end or whatnot. He took 8 shots he only had 13 shots, but 8 of them came from 3. So that's telling me right there he's not being aggressive and he's settling for whatever reason.
Yeah, he certainly needs to be more aggressive. They could do better than 5 of 28 from 3 from their bench also. Not helpful Everybody's spooked, huh? Everybody's off. Everybody's off the Super Bowl. It's going to be a nice little
Man,
short
I'm a front.
I don't want to be.
I'm saying, when you come out, Joy, you get the buckle out the gate.
Yeah.
Not the buckle.
The buckle.
Oh, my God.
Not even the
Jefferson.
extension cord. He got the buckle.
We are all traumatized. Who leads Team USA to gold in flag football in 2028? That's next on Speak. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM.
I think Justin Jefferson the only one still doing the.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Justin Jefferson talks about how he dreams of the opportunity to win a gold medal now that the NFL players will be able to participate in flag football in the 2028 Olympics. Speak up, Justin.
Just think about the chances of, playing in the Olympics and, getting a gold medal is a dream. Just reverting back to being a kid and watching the track and field, meets, watching basketball win the gold medal. So, that's something that as a kid I always wanted to be a part of, but football wasn't globally. So now that we're expanding the game and we're going more globally, it's pretty cool.
Key, how many gold medals would you have won if there was flag football in the Olympics?
Probably 2. I'm in 96 for sure. I'm getting the Kristen Leitner treatment just off the top because I was the number 1 pick, so they're going to put me in.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Just make everybody remember.
You're going to get any run?
I probably would get some run, but the field was thick, though. You had Jerry Rice's and Chris Carter's and Michael Irvin's, but they did just...
Randy Moss?
No, Moss was after me. 04, I would have got in on 04, and that would have been it. It was a wrap. I would have been like, I'm done.
Yeah.
2 medals.
Solid.
I wish that would have been the case, because I'd have loved to have done that. Being able to travel, well, even though it's here in the United States this year, but I would have been able to travel wherever it was back then. It would have been fun.
Yeah, the Olympics are incredible. It's really cool that it's in.
I would have been, man, I'm hyped for it now, and I'm not in it. Trying to figure out if I should.
You think they could drop a few LBs and get it going again?
I'm trying to figure out what other countries would I like.
What did I say?
No, I do need to drop a few LBs to get back out there.
We're in the green room together.
You know who's going to be tough in this competition? I just thought about it, Australia. Because, they big on
That rugby.
Yeah.
It is flag football, though.
Yeah, but it's like nobody has a professional NFL team.
Man, you'll be shocked, though.
In other countries like that, like professional
United
teams.
States is winning.
But you'll be shocked, though, Paul. It's some dudes. There's going to be some dudes that's got some stuff that we're not even thinking about that might be soccer players that we're not even really thinking about.
Bring Usain Bolt out.
They don't need Usain Bolt. They got some other dudes that can pick them up and put them down.
They're going to bring Usain Bolt.
You know that. And there's some American players.
Ain't it Usain?
And there's going to be some players from over here that play in the NFL that we're not even thinking about that's aligned to some other countries.
Yeah.
Watch what I tell you.
Right.
Not enough, though.
This is going to be fun to
I can't wait to watch Usain Bolt. Rick,
Hussein?
yesterday we did a flag
Hussein?
We all same.
We're not having a serious day. Who do you think has the best team? Okay, we're gonna display we did our drafts yesterday. If you didn't see it, it's on our social media.
Ooh, that blue team looking cracking.
Well, I have to say that Key came out of the gate really strong with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but then he took a hard...
How? Where?
Patrick Surtain? Like, what?
Because I can put him on defense. He's he's athletic. That's what y'all don't seem to understand. And he can catch, and he played both positions growing up.
Yeah, so does Travis Hunter.
I mean, my team is the best team.
No.
It is.
What?
I can't even see that.
What?
Yeah,
No,
I think
First of all, you got a running back.
It's definitely time for glasses.
Who uses a running
He has-
back at 7-on-7 or passing league?
No. See, here's the thing. It's a pass-catching running back.
Yeah, right.
And you need athletes across the board who are going to not only be able to catch and receive in different ways and run, but also you got to cover.
Jaden Daniels is the most accurate running quarterback, dual threat quarterback in the league. Tyreek Hill goes without saying.
But you asked him about the team,
I mean,
but you want to try to.
He's a great.
Joy,
I mean, he's a great team. If you can read, I clearly have the best team.
Joy clearly put in the most time and
I
thought
did. I was a
into
great
building her
GM. Carlene
team.
assisted me.
hold
I did
on.
research.
So Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson,
Great
clearly
players.
in most people's eyes, at 1-2-2-1, whatever you want to say in the National Football League. Then I got a Lad McConkey who does not drop anything.
All right.
And he's going to get open.
And he's not going to guard. He's not going to cover anybody.
Lad McConkey, if you don't come on this show, okay, I'm gonna take it personally as disrespect. Because Keyshawn loves some Lad McConkey. It is time.
Man.
All right?
Lad McConkey can
Come
go.
on down.
Yeah,
It's just down the street. All right.
He can go, though.
No, he can.
I love how
can
we just
go.
completely dismissed Paul's
Yeah,
team.
Paul's team is not gonna.
Well, when you pick
We got
Decap
Saquon
Metcalf
Barkley.
second.
We're not running the football.
Why not? It's fly.
Decap Metcalf,
Listen,
Saquon
listen.
And
Barkley.
Saquon has great hands.
Hey, listen, I currently have a son that's in flag football, and running game is essential in flag.
What you gonna run a draw?
No, we're gonna owe it to you. Gotta catch the flag. You gotta catch him.
And listen, you do have the league MVP Key as your quarterback, but he's got to put some people in a blender.
Yep.
No, he can't. He's big. He's fast.
No, you can't run people
no one's
over.
tackling
you
you.
can't run over.
but
You need to be able to
but he's
evade.
big- he's big
which
and
Jaden
fast.
McDaniels-
I almost picked
And
Kyler
listen,
Murray.
You know how hard it is to grab his flag? Being that big, it's hard to grab his flag. It's hard.
Because what are you talking about?
Hard, trust me.
Why is it
I
hard?
played flag football. It's hard.
Paul's struggling through that one.
Yeah, but Paul, grow up.
Whoa.
Back to basketball because it's time for our top story of the
All right, I'm
day.
glad I won. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rick. I won.
Yes.
Back to basketball.
I'll be giving out my grades later.
Yeah. It's time for our top story of the day, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Celtics 4-0 against the Knicks in the regular season. They still got the steel toe boot from New York in the second round. 6-game series loss, including two 20-point blown leads that LeBron thought was a sign of the Celtics being bored. Let's take a listen.
Well, you know what it's like when you're
It seems like
successful
sometimes,
teams,
it seems like they get bored sometimes with I don't want to say the process, because they are who they are, and they've, when you look at Tatum and Brown, this is years and years and years and years. They've punched their 10,000 hours, and but sometimes it seems like, sometimes they get a little bored because of how great they are.
Right.
Not only as those two as individuals, but them as a team. Sometimes it looks like they get bored.
Paul, do you agree with LeBron James that your Celtics got bored?
I do to a certain degree. I think, this year, especially as compared to last year, because they were like, look, we let one go a couple years ago when they lost in the championship to Golden State. Now, you win a title. And in convincing fashion, too. I mean, they are one of the great teams in NBA history by point differential, record-wise, and just pretty much blew out teams. But the thing is, this year, what I saw, and the reason they had a lot of teams come back, because they showed some tendencies like this in the regular seasons where they got up big and teams came back and beat them. I just think before they kept their foot on the gas because they were hungry to win. And now that they won, it just seems like they'll punch you, but they gotta have to understand that teams are gonna punch back. And they think that first couple punches is enough because they got out on a lot of teams this year and to where they took big leads and a lot of teams came back. And I can see at some point just saying, hey, listen, dog, it's got to get to the point where these teams going to take your punch. And whereas before they didn't. You knock them right out. But they taking punches now, and they feel like they got complacent with it. More so than bored. They're probably more complacent than bored, I would say.
I mean, it's really hard to repeat.
It is hard to repeat. We haven't had a repeat champion since the Golden State Warriors. You're going to get everybody's best every single night, and that's the part. And I think, just like them losing this year in the second round to the Knicks, I think it'll be a wake-up call if they're going to continue to be a contender to understand what's it going to take to get back to that point.
The crazy thing is first of all, I do agree with LeBron. I think he was watching our show yesterday when I brought that up. But when you start thinking of complacency versus boredom, it's essentially the same thing to me. Because if you come into the season and your eyes is on the prize to repeat, and that's what you want to do, you want to repeat, and your whole focus is on repeating, you're going to put yourself in a good position because you know that people gunning for you. Paul and them didn't repeat, right, Paul, because y'all got hurt. Injuries. That's the excuse for them at that time. But when you look at it, and then in 2010, they wound up just losing to the Lakers. But when you look at it, though, if they just would have stayed focused and not gotten bored, because they, like Paul said, they had these leads throughout the regular season. They even had leads in the postseason that they squandered because for whatever reason, they said, okay, well, we good. We up by 20. We going to coast our way instead of going up by 35 and saying to themselves, we ain't taking no chances on any of these teams coming back to get us, because if they had their eye on the prize to repeat, you would have been hearing it a lot. Oh, we want to repeat. You didn't really hear that coming out of Boston at all throughout the season or even at the end of the season. Think about the teams that repeat. They always talk about, oh, we want to repeat. We're going to repeat, double-peat, triple-peat. They get that all the way. We're going to clone the saying. Nobody else can do it. The Celtics never said that not once. Because almost like they was just happy winning last year, like one was just enough.
Ooh. No, you know what also, too, I noticed, I feel like roles changed, too. I think, as when you win, and I noticed that with our team, like, other players want to take on more, and then other players take on less when, hey, no, we won like this. Let's see if this can work again. As you notice, like, and there's nothing wrong with that as you get better. Like, you got Peyton Pritchard, had more of an extended role. But you had Drew Holiday, seemed like he took a lesser role. Because Drew was an essential. He was, like, when Drew got 14, he took less shots. You seen him off the ball a lot more, and I feel like Derek White's role expanded. So I think that played into a lot of why it was tough for them to repeat or get the number one seed, because as roles started, like Jalen and Jason's role was the same, but like as roles start changing, it kind of like tampers with the infrastructure to a certain degree, and that can cause something in the chemistry. And if they got to go back to say, hey, this is how we won, guys. Let's get back to the basics. And they showed the tendencies from a couple of years ago on why they didn't win. They showed those tendencies this year on how they settled too much for the threes.
I don't know if they can get back to that, though, because to your point, I think you pointed it out. Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis were just such big pieces, parts of them winning last year. And those two essentially weren't available or playing at the same level this year. So I think there was some of that. But in the bigger picture, I believe it wasn't boredom. It was they got addicted. They got addicted to the three-point shot. That became the cure-all for them. And it was the thing that they went to. And they did it so well, and they did it more and better than anybody else, that was their answer. Even, up by 20, it comes back down. Yeah, but we can hit a couple threes. We can take it right back there. Like, it gave them a false sense of security. And the problem is that when you're not hitting threes and you're playing against a team, particularly in the postseason where the pace slows down a little bit and you're playing better defensive teams, and you have another team like the Knicks who can play in the mid-range, who are going to be physically tough, who are going to defend the three a little bit harder. Like, it's a recipe for disaster. And so I think they need to get away from this idea that we're going to leading the league far and away in three-point attempts and three-point percentage and all of that is the answer to winning a championship. I think you have to be more diverse offensively to do that. Yeah, they certainly relied on that, particularly in the postseason. I mean, I don't know how you get bored in a series when you go down 0-1. Like, that is that's the crazy part to me. I can see once you get knocked in game one and then you kind of like shook a little bit, but that should be enough to wake you up. Because we've been talking about the Celtics since before the season started, and particularly in the Eastern Conference, and we're saying this now. Who's really scary? Well, as it turns out, everybody to the Celtics, because they didn't get out of the second round. Now, obviously, you lose Tatum, and that changes things. But up until that point, they were out of it anyway. So, I think they have to be more diverse offensively. But they didn't really seem like they had the sense of urgency of a team that is going to repeat, which is incredibly difficult to do. They just didn't have that energy.
No, they didn't have a sense of urgency, and it didn't feel like from the beginning that's what. I know they wanted to repeat, but it wasn't something that was on their mind.
Yeah.
You know, it was just kind of like, we happy with getting the one that we got.
Well, looking ahead into the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, New York has home court advantage against Indiana, and the Knicks are also favored to win this series and advance to the finals. So, Paul, I know how you feel about the Knicks, but should they be favored over the Pacers?
I struggle with this one. I go back and forth. no, seriously, because listen, I see some things in this Indiana Pacer team, like, and I see why the Knicks, because you beat the defending champs. I get it. And when you look at the series, you probably got the two best players. When you start looking at who has the best player in the series, it's probably Jalen Brunson. If you just look as a whole, who's the second best player in the series? It's probably Cat, right? And so when you say that, the top two players in the whole series, and then the third best player is probably Halliburton. And then the fourth best player is probably Mikal Bridges or who would you say? Oh, Siakam. But then you say, all right, the Knicks got the 5. But the thing is, I see the Knicks, they got depth, and they got dogs. They got a guy that can rally around, who inspires their play, and Halliburton, the most overrated player in the NBA, according to his peers. Doesn't look that way now, does it? But like I said, this is a great matchup, and it's New York. Like, people are going to put the money towards New York, and that's why they're favored. But I just think that
So you think the Pacers should be favored?
I think the Pacers should be favored. They're well coached. They have a championship coach. They have depth. They've been here before to the conference finals. They've won in Madison Square Garden a year ago, and I know it's not the same team, but psychologically you can go in there and say, hey, we've been here before, fellas. We can win in this building and in this chaos. And I just think from top to bottom, they have a better roster overall, 1 through 10. I think New York has 5 guys. Yes, McBride, he gives you something here and there. And then the big fella off the bench,
Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson, he's been a factor. But when you talk about 1 through 10, nobody that's left, maybe outside OKC.
Cameron Payne. Another one.
You know, he's hit on
gets
this.
some minutes.
He gets his minutes. But 1 through 10, Indiana is the deeper team of the two.
They should, but I think the Knicks should be favored for one of the things Paul said was they did beat the champs. And they came from behind, they did all the things, but when they took care of business, when they came back home to close things out in 6, that was something special. Now, look, Indy went in there last year, and it was a hobbled Knicks team. Let's be honest with ourselves. And they took care of business. They won the game, but they were hobbled. Jalen Brunson was playing on like a fractured ankle or something was wrong with him.
OG had an issue.
OG had an issue early. So it was like...
No Randall.
This is a different structure of the team. They do have more depth because Tibbs will not go all the way into 10. He just, for whatever reason...
But he's playing more than he has.
No, yeah.
Like McBride's getting minutes, Mitchell's getting minutes.
He's playing more, but Mitchell was getting minutes a year ago. Wasn't like he wasn't getting minutes a year ago. He was still on the floor. So, but when you look at it, I just think that they won there before, but this feels different. It just feels like I've been saying the whole time, it feels different. It feels like it's New York's time. They hadn't won since 1973. That's been forever. That was like, what were you? No, he was just covering, he was still.
Oh, he was covering.
Stop.
Oh, he was covering the ABA.
Stop.
The ABA, oh, okay, that's when they merged. Okay, got it.
Right before the merger.
Should the Knicks be favored over the Pacers?
Yeah, I have the Knicks as a slight favorite. And look, they have home court advantage. Let's start with that. I think they are more battle-tested. Detroit gave them a tough first-round series. They did have to knock off Boston, the defending champs. Indiana faced the Bucks.
In a Cavs team that we probably...
The Cavs team that was a better regular... Yeah, but a better regular season team and injured. Like
64-win team they beat.
They were missing 3 key guys, at least 1, if not 2 games.
1 game.
Right? All right. I believe the Pacers are vastly underrated for all of the reasons that you gave. And I think this is going to be a great series. But there's also the factor that Key brought up, which is the Knicks lost to these guys last year.
Yeah.
And they got a little something. They want some payback. In the same way that Paul was talking about OKC felt like they gave one away last year, I think the Knicks are looking at it like, hey, they didn't get the best of us last year. We need to change this.
Did Indy have home court last year? I don't remember. I feel like Indy had home court, huh? Over them last year.
I'm trying to think where that started.
I feel
yeah,
like
I think you're right.
I feel like it did.
I mean, I don't think it's a big deal that the Knicks are favorites. I mean, they have home court. They're not even that big of a favorite tonight. Like they're not huge favorites in the series. They are expecting a close series, which is what we are all predicting. That these are two very evenly matched teams. They both have a chip on their shoulder. They both play physical. They both have young, dynamic players. I agree with you, Paul. I think the top two players are on the Knicks, but how deep the Pacers go may end up being what the matchup is. But somebody's got to be favored.
Yeah.
and I think it's fine that it's the Knicks. And the Pacers may take that as motivation. So
If the Knicks allow Indiana to go out there and play this type of music.
Put me to sleep.
No, but they're looking like classical music to where they share the ball, backdoor, fast break,
you with this,
smooth.
I wasn't.
No?
He took me the
this
long
is
way, but we got there.
Now the Knicks got to come out here. Yeah, if they allow Indiana to come out here and play like this,
No, you know what?
they're gonna lose. The Knicks got to junk up the game.
I thought you were saying that if the Knicks let them play classical music in their arena.
No.
It would be
The
trouble.
style of play. Like when I look at these two styles, one plays like it's a little more classical.
Yes,
like
the style of
the
play.
Knicks is straight hip hop.
Yep. But it's not even the Pacers.
I got it made. Like the Knicks, you know what I'm saying? They gotta
They got to put those steel-toed boots
on.
They got to put those steel-toed boots back
you know
on.
What I'm saying? This gotta be a ball fight.
What do they do with those steel-toed boots?
What does the classical music sound like?
Oh, here's a back door, fast break. It's more smooth. This style of play is
go to
more
sleep.
classical.
Yeah, if
Where
they go
the
to
Knicks
sleep.
is more hip hop and bar fight and
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Getting it
saying?
done, getting it in.
Tim's.
But they don't need to do
Black
that.
and Miles.
They don't need to do that. The Pacers. There's one guy they need to do that to, and that's Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
If he's not getting to
He's
the
the
paint
sim-
and
he's the
scoring,
conductor.
he is the conductor.
He's
They
the
need
conductor.
to knock the
That's what-
conductor
Exactly.
off the stand.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Now I do.
understand.
It took us
Great metaphor. Coming up,
a minute.
are we putting too much faith in Josh Allen and the Bills to win every game this season? That's next on Speak. Jumping
Oh, my
over
goodness.
to some football.
Real.
Cannot pull up in the NBA issue socks. That's
Please don't.
a terrible game. The reigning MVP, Josh Allen and the Bills, are favorites to win every single game.
Man.
That includes matchups against the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Now, Key, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, not too long ago, you said that you think the Bills are going to go. What was when the schedule came out? When the schedule came out, you said that they were going to go 16-1.
Who's the
so
loss?
This shouldn't be too surprising to you.
Well, no, it's not surprising to me at all. I'm just looking at the teams that they playing. I had them losing to the Chiefs. I mean, I had them beating the Chiefs. I'm sorry. No, wait. No, losing to the Chiefs in the regular season. I had them losing to the Chiefs. That was the one loss. Because they play in Buffalo, and if they lose to them in the regular season, Joy, it will reverse that postseason
Right.
that they continue to have
Gonna
against the
mess with
Kansas
the
City
energy.
Chiefs. But when you look at the Ravens, right? Okay, at home, then
So those big games are mostly at home. They've got the Ravens at home, the Chiefs at home,
the Dolphins
the Bucks
home.
at home, Dolphins
No,
at home.
I call Dolphins a big game, division rival.
The Bengals at home.
Bucks at home.
But they play the Dolphins every year. I'm talking about the ones that are outside of the division.
Oh, they got the Eagles,
Eagles
the
at home.
Bucks, the Chiefs, and the Ravens all at home.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, it says something in terms of whoever was that said they're gonna go undefeated, because really the Jets, we don't know what they are. As much as I'm rooting for them, I think Buffalo will have
They're
their
gonna
number.
Sweep the division.
Yeah, I think they sweep the division.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think the division is harder than it was last year, and I don't see them going 16 and well, certainly they're favored in every single game. So I don't think they're going to go undefeated.
So you think you looking at the schedule, the division you feel is going to be harder.
Well, I think
Slightly.
I think it's slightly. I don't think it's
Yeah, but-
I don't think it's the
but they're
AFC North.
better.
I don't think it's the AFC West. But I do think that there's the teams that are at the bottom are a little bit better.
Do you think that the New England Patriots are better than the Bills?
No,
Do
but
you
I think
the Jets are better than them?
No, I do not.
Do you think that Miami's better than them?
No.
So they're going to sweep the division.
That is not how it works at all.
yeah,
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes. They're the better team. They got the better quarterback. They're the better team.
What?
Damn.
They're the better team.
I understand that. I don't think any of those teams are going to win the division. I think they could win a game. Like a game?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
because-
I mean, like, the Jets are going to be better than they were last year,
True.
right?
True.
The Patriots are going to be better than they were last year. I'm not saying that they're going to be great.
I think they're-
I don't think they're going to be competing for the division.
I think they'll be better because they got a more seasoned coach than Gerard Mayo was, so they probably can win. He can win 1 or 2 games for him as a coach.
Who are they winning those games against?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Buffalo though.
So you think, I don't know. I don't think Buffalo is going to sweep the division. I do not. I think Buffalo will win the division. I think they're going to be competing for a Super Bowl again next year. I think they're a great team and they have an MVP. I do not think they're winning every single game this year. I don't think they're going 16-1, and I don't think that they're sweeping.
See, and then when I'm starting to look at this, new quarterback for the Jets, not sure what Tua's going to be, new quarterback with the Saints, new quarterback for the Patriots, new quarterback at the Falcons. Yeah, Bryce Young played well last couple games of the season, but we, see what that is. And you got Tua again, Baker Mayfield, Stroud. I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers. Joe Burrow, Bengals. I don't know who the quarterback is with the Browns. I'm hoping it's Shador.
Paul, are we too high on the Bills? Not me. Is Key too high on the Bills?
16-1 is
I think they'll lose a couple more. I could see them losing maybe a game or two in the division, a game in the division. They can lose, and then outside the division, they could probably lose at Texas. That'll be a tough game for them. Yeah, I think we are a little too high. I mean, favored in every game. When is the last time that's ever happened? It's like, I can't,
we have
we have to look that up, huh?
Look at New England's schedule or something from back in the day.
Yeah, just favored in every game, home and road. But all the teams that you wouldn't be favored against, you have them at home.
Yeah, they got the best of the schedule at home.
Yeah, whoever put this together.
Now, look, Eagles, week 17, they probably week 17, who knows what they'll be playing for in week 17.
Yeah, but I mean, they, like, at the Texans, okay? At the Texans,
Yeah,
at
that's
the
gonna be a
Steelers.
tough.
Yeah, the Texans beat them last year.
I don't think that they're going to sweep the division. Like,
Okay.
I'm giving them at least 3 losses.
Yeah, I give them 3 losses.
I had them at 16-1.
16.
They were 13-4 last year.
But I do have Josh Allen winning MVP back-to-back.
See, I'm not even.
If they go 16-1,
Yeah, if they go 16-1,
If they going 16-1, yeah, I guess so.
So you must have
Unless
them-
somebody else goes 16-1 or 17.
yeah. So like you're saying, Josh Allen's gonna probably win the MVP again if you're thinking that.
Coming up, the Joker may have gotten bounced earlier than he wanted from the playoffs, but he's already got the start of his offseason plans. We'll tell you what he's up to next on Speak.
Man, how he's so big? He be getting on riding horses that big.
Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets season ended earlier than they had hoped, but the Joker already has the start of his offseason plans. Speak up, Joker.
I need to talk with the coaches and with some of the main players, let's say like that. And we will see, But from now, like next couple of days, it's gonna be a lot of beer probably.
You need to talk to the coaches and we figure out get a couple beers and relax and
You think you can go beer for beer with Jokic?
Heck nah. I can tell he probably you could tell he enjoys his off seasons.
Yep. I got a couple of people who have thrown him down with him, and they're like, nah, you can't stay with him.
Nah,
He's special. He's special that way.
Yeah, that's how the Europeans are though.
Oh yeah.
They can party. You understand over there, they clubs don't probably open till 2 a.m.
Yep.
And they be going all night. I done been. Trust me.
Like that.
Man, I ain't built for
LA's
that.
a little bit different. LA shuts it down at around 1:30.
Right. Lights come on.
Last
like,
call.
ooh.
Yeah, go on ahead and yeah.
Hell wrong with Paul,
Lights come on.
I
Lights
love
come on. I be
when the
like,
lights come
ooh.
on. The lights
You
come
need
on.
the lights come. You need the lights to come on.
When the lights come on, I be like, ooh.
Oh, you got bad eyesight. Man. I can tell out the gate.
Ooh, hold on.
You
Shit.
have the
I'm good
the
on
night-
Out the gate though.
The night vision.
You out the gate, I can tell.
Guys,
You don't need to turn on the lights for me.
Nah, you turn on the lights. You look like you ooh.
That's because you're tall. Paul don't have he be looking down. He's just looking at the top of people's heads.
Whoa. I'll be like, whoa.
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 I'll see y'all later.
My Uber out there. My Uber out there.
I got to roll. That's the best time.
We got workouts in the morning.
Everyone starts scattering when the lights come on.
Hey, for real, it's like when you step on a pile of ants, it just everybody go.
Everyone got to the bathroom all of a sudden.
Y'all so goofy.
Oh, no, not me. I'm like,
Hey, you be like, hey,
and I'm still leaving, and she's coming with me.
I gotta leave her home. Gotta leave Joy at home, Paul.
man,
Big hater.
let's go.
Hey, have her. Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah. Joy, get out of business.
Joy, chill.
Yeah, chill.
Come on, girl, let's
Go
go.
over there and get another drink or something.
It's closed. It's time to go.
Yeah, I'm worried about she want to leave.
We left together.
You can go home.
Together.
You can go home, Joy. She's staying.
Nah. Over to the man who reportedly beat out Joker for the MVP. Shai's first MVP will continue an impressive streak of international players winning the NBA's most prestigious individual award. James Harden was the last American to win the MVP in 2018. I feel like our current administration would have a field day with this.
Woo.
If they could read. Paul, when will the streak of international MVPs end?
Shots fired.
Whew, only candidate I see right now for next year, it's probably gonna be out of like Ant-Man. Maybe Brunson can be in there if the Knicks have a good record in the East. If Tatum won't be back till late in the year if he comes back. So it's gonna be Donovan Mitchell. He'll be on the top team, but he wasn't in talks this year, and he was on a 60-win team. I don't know, Joy. We might not see another American MVP for quite some time because now you got the rise of not only Shai, you got the rise of guys like Wemby. Mm-hmm. He's gonna be in the mix.
And if you get a full season out of
Luka,
but the Lakers are any
Jokic
good.
will be in the conversation again.
Man, you gotta understand who was first team All NBA.
Depending
this
if
year?
Giannis goes to another team.
Giannis is gonna be in there. Man, I just don't see it for the Americans right now. I mean, Ant-Man is our only hope.
Ant-Man, Bronson,
Ant-Man.
probably be the two.
Maybe Anthony Davis.
For me, Cade Cunningham in Detroit.
Cade Cunningham, that's a good one.
He's got a
Rick.
shot just because Detroit's up and coming.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's dying for a new flavor. Paolo Banchero with the Orlando Magic, potentially.
Yeah. He can gain some steam.
But the new flavor just won.
But it's going to take a couple of years, I think. I don't think this happens.
The new flavor just won.
Right.
And
they're not going anywhere.
Not going nowhere.
Yep. No.
Man, we really on the back burner as American top tier players.
Does Ball sneak in there?
No. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
But in Charlotte,
I'm trying to find an American, man.
You have to be at least top 2, 3, 4.
This is truly an end of an
They're
era.
a United States of American.
You're okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Man.
you got a Joel Embiid who was developed here. I know
Halliburton.
But
Cameroon.
Embiid coming off injury.
Next year, Halliburton.
No, I'm just saying in terms
No,
of that
Rick.
streak. What?
No,
What?
we're not.
Kawhi.
Wait, you getting ready to try to sneak him in?
I'm trying to borrow players now.
Getting ready to try to sneak him in.
Yeah.
We gonna claim him now.
He just
Come on.
became an American citizen.
Let's talk to Shai.
That's tough.
We can get him status.
Man, I just don't see it.
Canada's not messing
Dual
with us right now.
citizenship. It's true.
Yeah, they don't want nothing to do with our
Could
problem.
Steph make another run?
No.
No. They gotta. You gotta.
You don't think he can make another run?
For MVP, it's gonna be tough because they're not gonna be a top tier team.
Yeah.
Like in the top 2 or 3.
They're a play-in team right now.
Yeah, Ant seems to be our only hope.
Man, Ant is our only hope. Him and Brunson.
That's bleak.
Halliburton.
Bronson's in a good situation because of the city, though, Rick.
John Morant.
You know how
John
New York
Morant.
is. New York is going to take whatever he does, they're going to make it like tenfold. They're going to
But
push that thing all the
when
way
you look
up.
at what happened this year with, like, Jokic is going to do what he did this year.
Yeah, what he's been doing.
Yep.
So to take down Jokic, you got to have a record like the Thunder did, look like Shai did, and put the numbers up consistently that he did.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Good luck finding
I'm going to tell my grandkids, I'm going to say, hey, it was a dude that averaged 30, 14, and 10, and he didn't even win MVP.
Yeah.
They going to be like, what? What, granddad? He didn't win MVP. What? I'm like, dang.
Granddad, what's that in your hair?
They gonna be looking like that with them glasses.
I'm going to be like, he averaged 32, 14, and 10, and he didn't win.
Why you all little now?
Yeah, you know me hunched over.
Paul's gonna be 6'4".
I'm going to be 6'4" by then, hunched over. Yeah, that, you get older, you shrink.
Yeah, all day.
I can't afford to shrink. I'm definitely going to shrink. All the women in my family shrunk.
Man, so.
It's a wrap.
Man,
you start
that's
doing some
crazy.
yoga. Make sure you're,
I mean, Father Time, that's why I'm trying to extend it now. I get to the gym in the morning now. I just try to extend right now.
Take long walks.
Yep, take
How you
long
do.
walks.
Jimmy Butler made a major impact with the Warriors this season. Golden State turned things around after his arrival in February, but he was never really able to activate playoff Jimmy, even when Steph Curry went down injured in Game 1 of the Warriors series with the Wolves. Dwayne Wade saw a lot of Jimmy Butler in Miami with the Heat and was disappointed with Jimmy's playoff output. Let's take a listen.
I think the thing with Jimmy is I didn't like the way he just approached the game. Like, I know Jimmy is a pass-first guy. I know he's about getting his teammates the ball and want to see them shine. But it's a point where you're getting 60. Mm-hmm. This ain't working. You got to go.
Yep.
He won't look at the basket. And I've seen this before. I've seen it in the Heat jersey. Jimmy Butler is too good of a basketball player to not have his imprint on the game. And sorry, sir, when it's time for you to take over, you just have to.
Okay. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is what they brought Jimmy over for. We go back to what he did in the bubble. We go back a couple of years, the way he played versus the Celtics. I went to a couple of those games. That was a zipper Jimmy. Now, he may not be able to do it consistently on a night in and night out basis like he used to because he's put on some miles and he's some years into his 30s. But when Steph goes out, there's no excuse at that point. I believe, I'm not 100% sure. I think he took 9 shots in that last game where they lost. Like, that's a time where Jimmy got to go out cape and sword, swinging. And we just didn't see that because we saw it so many other times and we just thought maybe he can uplift this team or at least give him a fighting chance. And Dwayne's right. When you see a former Heat legend call out a guy who did it so many times in a Heat uniform, he knows what he's talking about. He's seen Jimmy night in and night out, so he knows what that looks like. So I have to agree with Dwayne Wade said.
He had 11 shots in the elimination game.
11 shots? You see, that's
9 before, and I think 9 before that. He had 11, then I think the game before that might have been like 9.
Okay.
I understand what Dwayne is saying, but I got to give him a little bit of a pass, given the fact that he's coming to a new team in a new situation. Although he had been there for a couple months, you still don't know your place. Even though if people telling you that you the guy, you still, because in all honesty, it's Steph Curry and it's Draymond Green, even though Draymond's not the scorer, not the this or that, but he's the heart, soul of the team and all of those sort of things. So Jimmy may have felt a certain type of way.
No, he's an alpha. He's an alpha.
I know, but he may have felt a certain type of way, though.
If I'm on a new team, I'm going to come in there and look around like, oh, this me today? You see, Keith, you know that. I would approach it that way because I don't give a damn about who team it is. I'm on it now, so it's over with. I'm on it now.
But he just, in watching him play those last couple games, it just felt like he was uncomfortable to me. Like for some reason, and I said this on the show the next day, he was underneath the basket. He was right there. You got to do something. Boom, you got 2. But he didn't. It was almost like he was unsure of what to do, as if he was going to hurt somebody's feelings had he taken a shot. So then he wound up kicking it back out, and I think it might have got turnover after that. But I just give him a little bit of a pass just because of how the circumstances ended in the situation where Curry gets hurt. Now, all of a sudden, he has to become Batman and not Robin, and he probably wasn't ready for that, even though he had been
Batman.
But he was Batman on his team.
Right.
Yeah,
This ain't his team.
I can't lay this all at the feet of Jimmy. I mean, he could have been more aggressive for sure, but he was only there for 41 games, including in the playoffs. when he got there, even though he absolutely is an alpha, there's also, I think alphas can respect the situation. Like, you don't have to just be like, I can meet her. Like, you can go into a situation and have some perspective.
How you do that again?
Rocks, I picked them up, I put them down. Like, I think he has more self-awareness than that. This is the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. Yeah. Like, he can come in and playing a role on a championship level team does not diminish your alphaness.
Yeah.
So I think he went in there finding the way and where he was going to fit, and he did a nice job, which is why they had the turnaround, which is what boosted all of our confidence that they could potentially go on a run. But then you're playing through Steph Curry, as you should. Now, all of a sudden, you're not playing through Steph Curry, and he's just supposed to turn it on and be that thing for Golden State. When he was in Miami, there was no question that this was his team. There's no question how things were going to go. If he wanted to defer, that was his choice because he felt that and he knew his teammates and knew when that was the moment to do it. So I think he could have been more aggressive for sure. But I can't put this all at his feet. And also, any team that loses their number one guy, it's very likely you're not going to move on. So they didn't bring him there to be the number one guy.
No, I'm giving him a full pass, and I feel like in some ways there's a lack of gratitude.
Oh, some good principles. Everybody gave Jimmy Butler, a future Hall of Famer, a superstar in this league, a guy who's carried 2 teams to the finals.
His teams, though.
Yeah,
you said I was a hard grader, and now I'm giving a good grade, and now you got an issue with it. I don't understand.
That's his team.
What's that?
However you want to slice it. When Steph goes down, when I look around and I see Jonathan Kuminga, when I look around, I see Draymond. When I look around, I see, who the other shooter?
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield. And I look at myself, and I look in the mirror, and I see Butler on the back. Jump on my back, fellas. Jump on my back, because I'm going to take us to the promised land, or I'm going to go out trying. That's who Jimmy is.
No.
But that's who he is.
You need to take a look at who playoff Jimmy was in the circumstances when he got that moniker. First of all, to Joy's point, like that was a team that he was with for 3-4 years.
That's his team.
Right? That was his team, and it was built to play off of
right
Jimmy.
Over there. They already had pieces in place, right?
Yeah.
This is my squad.
But no.
When I got there.
No, but they brought him there to be
finish
the
that
piece.
Yes.
Well,
he was the missing piece.
All right, so listen. You said he's gone from, think about what his career trajectory is, but he started off as Robin.
Not even Robin.
Not even Robin.
In Chicago, he was just trying to make the squad. He was a defensive stopper.
Then he became Robin.
Yep.
To Derrick Rose.
Yep.
And then he went, where did he go after that? Minnesota or Philly? Minnesota. He was Robin.
Yep.
To Cat.
Yep.
And then he went to Philly.
Yeah.
He was Robin.
Yeah.
Right? So he's very familiar with being in that role. And going
as
back.
Robin.
And then he went to Batman in Miami.
Right.
All of these is at the beginning of the season, not 41 or
that's more.
No,
than
it was years. I mean, there were years.
So
there.
when he scored 30, what was in game
32?
Game 2 or 3?
But Steph was on the floor with him.
I get it. So now I got to go back to that mindset when Steph is out.
But we have to look at, first of all.
Are y'all questioning the great Dwayne Wade and what he's saying?
Yes,
what are y'all saying?
Totally I am.
Huh?
He's taking a Miami Heat stance.
That's crazy.
We love Dwayne Wade, okay?
But he is taking a Miami
So what y'all saying? Because all the heat I got for saying something about Dwayne, what are y'all saying about D Wade again? He wrong?
He wrong? Don't start this.
What you got?
We don't start this. And I understand what Wade is saying. I think we all understand that Wade is saying he could have been more aggressive. Yeah. I think that. I'm just saying I'm not surprised that he wasn't. And I see why it would be difficult to shift into that mode when you weren't in that mode.
There's also thinking about the team that he has.
So y'all
who else was going to?
Will you be quiet and let Rick
Wade, don't listen to Paul.
So you're saying D Wade was wrong, huh?
Yes, I'm saying D Wade was wrong.
All right, here we go. D Wade, you know his Rick Bucher Instagram.
No. Give me the single.
Yep.
D Wade.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Start off with that
wrong about Jimmy Butler.
Love you, brother.
Are we done?
That was a real soft landing.
Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Great Dwayne Wade.
Soft landing there, huh? No, D Wade had a point, but I'll give him a pass, man. I just do.
Can we look?
If it was the start of the season and this happened, Rick, then it would be something different.
This is the look.
What are you getting frustrated about?
Because
what?
Who else is going to be a play? You were so bad.
No, I'm just saying.
Who else was going to be the playmaker on that team? When you look at what was around Jimmy with that team, what could guys do?
Buddy was left.
Buddy can shoot. What can Buddy do?
What I'm just thinking. Kuminga, Buddy. He can shoot.
What can they do?
Knock down
what can they do?
Knock down a three.
So you want Jimmy to go, oh, I'm going to go try to score 40 or 50. Or I'm going to try to get all these other guys going because that's the only thing they really can do. That is their strength, being able to score.
He could have done both. He could have did both.
No, see, and that's the difference. I believe at this stage of his age and his career, he couldn't put his energy into both. So if he had to choose one or the other, you know what? I'm going to try to get everybody going and see if I can get them going. But here's the bottom line. If he doesn't show up, they're not the 7th seed.
That's
all
true.
Right?
That's true.
They're not making. They're not the 7th seed.
They were 500 when he got there.
They don't host Memphis.
I understand.
They don't beat Memphis. They don't beat Houston.
I understand.
Right?
Yeah. You don't need to yell at me.
Jimmy got them to the 2nd round.
You don't need to yell at me.
You're the closest one.
Yeah. Don't yell at me.
Don't get it.
It's not going to have the same effect.
So
here we go.
So in other words, you said
D-Wade.
D-Wade don't know what the hell he's talking about. That's exactly what I was about to say. So in other words, D-Wade don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Doesn't like playing in Baltimore. We'll tell you if this complaint about another primetime game at the Ravens is legit. That's next on Speed.
Oh, my
This is
God.
why
So don't know what you're talking about.
So Dwayne Wade have no idea.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals will travel to Baltimore to play Lamar and the Ravens on Thanksgiving this year, but Burrow is not thankful about it. Speak up, Joe.
Playing in Baltimore for the 4th straight primetime year isn't ideal. Maybe we could get one of those in Cincinnati next year, please.
Hey.
I understand how he feels. He's 0-3 in primetime games on the road against them.
Well, you gotta
Does he have a
win.
valid complaint?
No valid complaint, because this is our scheduling. I see how it works in the NBA. You got to win.
Yeah, you got to win.
The year before. Like Baltimore, they host in these prime times because they win more games than you. So listen, you got to take your lumps. If you want to be one of the best, you got to beat the best at their best. So, come on, Joe. You one of the best, baby. Come on,
0-3, though. Man.
0-3?
On the road in primetime games against the Ravens.
Let me see. Let me look.
So that's why, you know what I'm saying? He going in there on those primetime games, Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night.
Got to get over the hump.
Pressure's on the Bengals this year.
Yeah.
They just spent all their money on the receivers and Joe Burrow. They retooled the offensive line to some degree. They fired the defensive coordinator, bringing in a new defensive coordinator. I can see it. I can see where the pressure's on.
A big list of the pressure teams under the most pressure.
Sure, we can do that next Tuesday.
Okay, let me produce that. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Starting with the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins are under a lot of pressure. Let's head to Las Vegas, where Pete Carroll and Geno Smith have put some of the old Seahawks band back together with the Raiders. The NFC West is always tough when they were together in Seattle, but the AFC West might have the greatest group of coaches in a division ever. And Geno thinks the Raiders can compete, though, describing Chip Kelly's offense as, quote, explosive and efficient. It's a tough division.
Man,
he is...
It's so crazy that you said that. So go ahead. That toughest division of coaches ever. And I was thinking when you said it, I'm like, every last one of them been to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Harbaugh didn't win, but he's been. Woof. And Pete's been, obviously Andy Reid and Sean's been.
And he has a college championship.
Yeah.
Can the Raiders...
Both of them. Petey got one.
They all got a chip.
Mm-hmm. Can the Raiders make some noise in the AFC West?
I think they can. Y'all looked at me like I was a damn fool when Pete Carroll got hired, and then we started talking about the draft and picking up Genty and what he wants to do, which is run the football and play defense. He's not looking for a Cook Russ type quarterback because that didn't get him anywhere, right? Geno Smith is a guy who can dink and dunk and manage the situation, and you don't have to lean on him to win the games, make one or two throws in the course of a game that helps the outcome of the game. So I believe they can still make the playoffs. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win the division. Nothing like that. Just one of them bottom slots in the wild card on the road, sort of like what Denver did a year ago. Because I like the fact that Pete Carroll is a veteran coach that has an idea of what it is that he wants to do. Some of the same things that he did in Seattle, which is play defense, run the football with Marshawn Lynch, and every now and then Russell Wilson could make a decent throw. And that's exactly what he's going to do with Geno. And I think that's enough to win in the National Football League. What the hell is that?
That's the noise they're going to make. You say, can they make some noise? That's about how loud the noise they're going to make. That's how loud the noise they're going to. It ain't going to be no, It's gonna,
So you know we're going to go to some Raider games this year.
I got them finishing 4th in the division. I got them finishing 4th.
You're going to have another team. You're going to have another team on you, a player from a team that'll get on your butt.
Let's be realistic. I got the Chiefs winning the division.
And that's a real one.
And then it's going to be a dogfight for second place between the Broncos and Chargers.
See, but I don't believe that, though. My thought process and the way that I look at things...
I got the Raiders finishing 4th.
The way that I look at things is totally different than the way others look at it. No. If you got a quarterback, you got a chance. And
they probably got the worst quarterback in the division.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say the worst.
I mean, I'm not saying Geno's a bad quarterback. No. But
he's better at this point in his career than Bo Nix. At this point in his career.
Bo Nix will be better this year.
He'll probably be better, but I don't know if he'll be better than Geno.
Bo Nix was in the Rookie of the Year conversation for a couple of weeks there.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Listen.
You're only up against 3 rookies.
They make some noise. What's the noise? Yeah, I think they can do that. I think they can make some noise in the division. I think they'll mess some things up for some people. There's still a few division.
No, I
But that's not that.
They got a much better defense than what we think. Okay?
I think they will be marketably better. But who are they taking down in the division? Not the Chiefs.
Oh, no.
Not the Chargers.
No, they're not going to take the Chiefs down. Don't look at me like that. They're not going to take the Chiefs down, but they're going to compete. They're going to compete.
Do they get an asterisk next to the L's?
How many wins?
For the compete?
How many wins will they get?
How many wins?
I think they're going to be a 9-10 win team.
Woo! I got to look at the schedule.
I think they're going to. So they open up. Okay, I'll give it to you right now.
Schedule.
New England, they open up at New England. They got the Chargers, Washington, Chicago, Indy.
That's tough out the gate. Gate?
I'm not saying that the Chargers aren't tough, but are the Chargers significantly better than the Raiders?
Yes, I think they are.
See, I don't know that to be true.
I think
Washington is better than them. What's Chicago?
Chicago's going to be significantly a better team than they.
What is Chicago? What's Indy? What's Tennessee?
Okay, I get that.
Okay, then they got Kansas City.
Okay.
Then they got a bye, and then they got the Jaguars. What's that?
At Detroit.
They got Denver. Denver was a decent team, but Denver lost some games that they probably shouldn't have lost.
Dallas.
And won some games they shouldn't have won. They got the Cowboys. They got Cleveland, Chargers, Denver, Philly, Houston.
Wins, though. You said 10.
I said 9-10. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go
at
New England.
They're going to get at New England?
Yeah, I'm going to give them New England.
All right.
I'm going to give them the Chargers.
Okay.
Monday Night Football against the Chargers. They're beating the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm giving them the Chargers at home in Vegas.
Okay.
Everybody's drunk. Okay? I'm going to give them an L to Washington. I'm going to give them a W against Chicago.
So they're starting the season 3-1.
That's what I believe.
4-1, according to Key.
No, 3-1. 3-1, right? I got New England, Washington. Oh, yeah, you give them that. Colts is 4.
5-1.
So that's 4. That's 4-1.
All right, versus Tennessee.
I'm going to give them that W.
That's what I'm saying, 5-1.
Come on.
Lost to Kansas City.
5-2.
They're 6-2.
I'm going to give them the win against the Jags.
So you see them 6-2.
I'm going to give them a loss against. I'm going to give them a loss at Denver. I'm going to give them
6-3.
I'm going to give them a loss to the Cowboys.
6-4.
A win against the Browns.
7-4.
I'm going to give them a L against the Chargers.
7-5.
I'm going to give them a win against Denver.
8-5.
I'm going to give an L against Philly.
8-6.
I'm going to give them an L against Houston.
8-7.
A W against the Giants.
9-7.
And I'm going to give them a W against Kansas City because Kansas City ain't got nothing to play for.
9-8. Okay.
That's now.
All right.
Now, I said 9-10. And somewhere in here they'll win one, lose one. Who knows? And what's wrong with that?
That's a nice season. They're not making the playoffs with that.
Yeah.
They might. They might.
What's the noise?
Y'all need to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming up, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards only took one shot in the fourth quarter of last night's loss. Tell you what we need to see from Ant-Man in Game 2 next on Speed.
How do you come up with this stuff, that Paul?
Anthony Edwards only took 13 shots last night, with tied his fewest so far this postseason. Your phone is on. He also scored in 5 points in the second half, including 0 in the fourth quarter. But Ant was still confident after the loss, saying he feels great and that they will watch some film and figure it out. So it seems like, based off of earlier in the show, that everyone is pretty down on the Timberwolves even having a shot in this series.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little spooked. But what do you need to see from Ant in Game 2, Paul?
Yeah, I need him to be a little more aggressive. And it's a little shocking because they had more days off to prepare for OKC than OKC had to prepare for them. And so, you know, just get back to the basics, look at the scouting report. And sometimes it just takes really actually being out there to kind of see what you need to figure out. Because you can only watch so much tape and you can go through so many different plays and walkthroughs and practice to try to figure out what OKC is doing to you defensively. But I think Ant has a high IQ, but I definitely need him to come out there, set a tone offensively, defensively, get into the paint, not settle for so many jumpers. I think he took, 8 3-pointers out of his 13 shots. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I needed to be a little more aggressive. And I know on the scouting report, it's like, be careful of OKC hands. They have some of the best hands in the business. When you get the ball in the paint, they're always looking to strip, and that's why they force turnovers. So he got to pick his spots, when to be aggressive, keep the turnovers down. And in the fourth quarter, that's when I need the superstar Ant-Man, who we compare to young Michael Jordan, to really show up.
Yeah, Paul is right, though. A little more aggressive. Sense of urgency in this situation. Step up, take control, find the right shots, though. 13 shots, 8 of those 13 with threes. I mean, that doesn't seem like a recipe for success to me, although I didn't play in the NBA. Maybe Paul could tell me, that is a recipe for success, but it doesn't seem that way to me. If he just goes back to the basics, like he did in the game in the last series where he was called out by the coach, he came back and he played an efficient game. And if they want to get back in this, that's what's got to happen in Game 2. Because if they lose Game 2, they down 0-2 going home. Yeah, that's cool. It's cute and all because you can say, we can even the score at home. But it becomes hard to now think that all of a sudden OKC is 2 games closer to going to the finals, that they all of a sudden going to let their foot up off the gas pedal and relax to allow you to get back in the game, which I don't think is going to happen, Joy.
I really think he needs to come out in Game 2 and have a dominant performance.
Dominant.
Give us that Anthony Edwards energy that we saw last year that made us start having the conversation about he might be able to take the lead in the league. That is the kind of energy that we need. You can't have...
Can't go just stand in the corner.
No, you can't be hiding. This is not a distribution time. This is the time to take over. We need a game like the closeout game against KD and the Suns.
I know.
Last year, 40 minutes, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. We need a game like that.
Go
out and just put your foot down. And even if they don't end up winning Game 2, I don't think that matters. Like, if it's a long series, it's okay. But go out and give yourself some confidence. The way that second half went, I'm not out on them, but yeah, it's scary. It's scary when you see it.
I'm not really out on him, but
he needs to go in.
Scary. You a little scary.
I'm scared, but I'm not out on him because I'm gonna send him. I'm gonna FedEx him the book too.
Listen, he's the one player left in the playoffs that can go into another team's building,
shut it down,
and give you one of those polarizing dunks that literally takes the air out of the building. To where it's like it gives your team momentum.
He tried that.
Yeah, he tried. He got fouled.
He got fouled. He couldn't. He tried it. He was getting ready to get him too.
He gets those type of dunks where he takes the air out of the building and can give his team some momentum. Yeah, he was that close. And that's what I usually see because in every series you notice he has at least one of those.
Yeah.
In every game to where he's just on the road too. He got to give me one of those
moments early.
Yeah, have one of those moments early to where you got the crowd going, ooh.
And I don't mind
You know what I'm saying? The road
and I don't
crowd.
mind them being a hot dog. Move out my way. I'm a hot dog. This, and if I got to put up 30-plus shots, I'm putting up 30-plus shots.
That's what they used to call Keyshawn. That's what the coaches used to
Give me the damn ball.
A hot dog.
Yep.
Everybody that wore 1, 2, and 3, those are hot dog numbers. So when you wear 1, 2, and a 3, that's 1, 2, 3, 7. Yeah, those are hot dog numbers.
Keyshawn Johnson's a real hot dog.
Is that how they talk?
Hot dogging around. Hot dog. Coming up, the tush push is here to stay. The league did not vote to ban the play, and we'll show you the Eagles' reaction to the booty scooty. The news next on Speak. Tons on our social life. The league did not vote to ban the tush push. The Packers' proposal failed by a vote of 22-10 today. The Eagles celebrated by posting a photo from a game against Green Bay. Very petty, very petty. I love it. Caption, push on. Philly also posted a 26-minute video of only tush pushes.
Man.
So they needed 24 votes, 22-10. So what two teams you think
Voted for it?
Yeah, voted for it.
Washington.
No, not Washington.
Or the Bills in Philly.
The Bills and Philly are two teams that just like, we
The
good.
Bills and Philly.
Yeah, Bills and Philly.
Washington was on the tush push too.
The booty scooty.
Yeah.
It lives on.
Well, get your weight up at the front line then. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't be out here like,
It ain't nothing. It's nothing you can do to stop it anyway, though. Teams can't stop it. They need to get better at
doing it.
Trying to do it.
No, they stopped it in the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's not really stopping it. Just because you got it once, maybe twice, that's not stopping it. Over the course of the season.
Versus Buffalo, they stopped it. Never in the playoffs.
Well, that's because he stood up
and
tried to go to the normal.
You gotta serve.
There's a technique to it.
Right.
And no one can duplicate what Philly's able to do.
Yeah,
Number one is
quarterback
you don't have a quarterback with the
squatting.
strength and squatting 900 pounds.
Yeah.
Not literally 900 for those that want to tweet at us.
Keyshawn, it wasn't 900 pounds. Do your research. Coming up, Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers said goodbye to the Cavs in the last series. Can they get an early lead on the Knicks when they kick off the Eastern Finals tonight? That's next on Speak. The Eastern Conference Finals is just hours away. The Pacers are in New York to face the Knicks, who are 4.5-point favorites tonight at the Garden. Paul, who wins Game 1 tonight?
I got the Pacers, Joy. I think the Pacers gonna come out here and set the tone for the series. I hope we don't underestimate them. I think they're gonna come out and get it done.
Yeah, I'm taking New York. I'm going with the Knicks. I'm gonna be a Knicks fan for the night.
For the night?
Yeah.
Just to go against Paul?
I'm gonna blend in with the rest of the Knicks fans.
Yeah, I'm going with the Knicks also. Oh, that's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m.
What the hell is wrong with y'all, man?